Question number 7, Jacqui Dean.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Transport. What updates has he received on damage to transport infrastructure following the Kaikōura earthquake?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Mr Speaker, this morning MP for Kaikōura, Stuart Smith, and I joined the Prime Minister for a briefing and flyover of the widespread devastation caused by the Kaikōura earthquake in the early morning hours of Monday morning. It's clear there's been significant, incredibly significant damage to local roads, State Highway 1 between Picton and Christchurch. Crews are working hard to repair roads where it is possible and safe to do so. And while alternative access routes are being established, it's now very clear it may be many months before roads are fully operational, especially given what is now likely to be an unprecedented level of damage to the state highway network. I just want to thank all those who are working around the clock to clear and repair the state highways and local roads.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Jacqui Dean.
To the Minister, what progress has been made on repairing and restoring transport infrastructure and services?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Speaker, as the Prime Minister's said, it's clear there's been widespread devastation and that the transport links with some towns have been cut off, Kaikōura being the biggest example of that. I just want to reassure those that are currently cut off that our absolute priority at the moment is restoring transport to them. Crews are working around the clock in the Upper South Island and in and around Wellington to repair transport infrastructure and get services back up and running. The current priority is opening the inland road to Kaikōura so people can get in and out by vehicle and so we can get more supplies into the town. It's hoped that we'll have this inland road open by this weekend, and as I say, people are working around the clock to ensure that. The Transport Authority Agency is also working closely with local authorities and local contractors to understand the extent of damage to local roads and reopen links where it is possible and safe to do so.
Supplementary question, Dennis O'Rourke.
Will the government fund new roll-on, roll-off facilities and a passenger terminal at Littleton to enable Kiwi Rail and other ferry operators to ship freight and passengers to and from Wellington?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
I think it's far too early to make those kind of predictions. We're doing the work, and I think the member can rest assured in terms of the underlying issues of getting freight in and around the South Island, the mainland. We will make sure that happens.
Supplementary question, Dennis O'Rourke.
Will the government carry out a comprehensive inquiry into a possible new road and rail connection along the Albert Tree Valley and the Molesworth Road from Seddon to Hanna Springs, including a tunnel at Wards Pass if necessary, as a means of providing faster, high-capacity and resilient road and rail routes to Christchurch and the rest of the South Island in the longer term?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Mr Speaker, our absolute commitment is to have a safe, a resilient and a very efficient network for transport in the South Island, including road and rail. I think the member, it's important to note, should recall that State Highway 7 is open. That is getting freight through from Canterbury to Picton and vice versa. And of course, we are also, as I said yesterday, actively exploring other options to, as I say, make this the strongest, most resilient network it possibly can be.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Given the future risk to State Highway 1 and the rail line from climate-related storm surges and rising seas, would he be willing to do a full evaluation of alternate inland routes as an option alongside the business cost ratio for the full rebuild of the existing route?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Mr Speaker, I think the member can rest assured that we will be doing a thorough work in relation to the roading network and the state highway network in particular. I think there are good reasons, though, why that State Highway 1 is, broadly speaking, where it is. But as I've said, now in media, I think a number of times in the last 24 hours, the exact route where it is may require realignment, and I think there will be by necessity, just to ensure that safe, resilient network that he and I both want, some necessity for improvement and change on what is there.
Question